Hello, my friend. How are you? Thanks for being with me. We're excited to be able to bring you this third in a series, this being the third part of the series entitled A Grower's Guide to Growing Business. My name is Brian Cerny. I'm with Captain Marketing. This seminar series being presented in cooperation with the Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association, FNIA, and the Farmers Market Promotional Program, a USDA program. It's our pleasure to be a part of it. For the last 33 years, our company has been devoted to helping owner-operated businesses like yours here and across the country. It is the majority of what we do. And we do it because we love seeing other people grow in their efforts. And that's a good question for you and I to think about here tonight as we talk about the sales process. Well, the first thing I should point out is selling and sales activity, salesmanship, well, that has kind of a negative connotation, doesn't it? Well, unfortunately, that's true, but largely it's because people who are in the business of selling do not better understand how it is that people go about making buying decisions. And more so, they're focused on the transaction. They're there to get the sale, would say. Right? But I would argue this: the sales profession is as rigorous and demanding and as honorable as any law, medicine, education, all based on the conviction of the person doing the selling. Are they disciplined enough to understand how the process works? And going back to this foundational idea that our marketing efforts, our ability to grow the company through marketing and advertising and selling, it's all based in why. Why we do what we do. If you're not convicted of that, if you don't have clearly in your mind the idea that bringing somebody a product that best serves their interests is the best thing that you can do, well, then you might want to think about doing something else. But if you're convicted, if you're convinced, if you're able to convince me that why you do this is for my good, and if that's sincere, if you really want to help children eat better food, if you want families to be healthy, if you want your neighborhood to improve, you want to grow the local economy by contributing in this way, those are all of the things I want to know whenever I have contact with you. I want you to be able to share with me sincerely and in earnest, this is why you do what you do. Well, how does that happen? Well, one of the ways that it happens is that you recognize that it's never about the transaction. It's always about you and I building the relationship, connecting all of those dots. Because here I am, standing in front of you, and you want me to buy what you have. So you would think. I mean, isn't that the job of selling? I would say no, it's not. Your job at that moment is to care for me as much as you care for your product. Think about how hard you work to bring those carrots in front of me, to put in front of me everything that you've invested in, your time, your money, your labor, everything that you've done. Wow. The question is, do you care about me as much as you do about all of that? In fact, if you're really good at what you do, you care about me more than you do about that. Wow. Many years ago, A guy named Ken Blanchard wrote a book called Raving Fans. If you've never come across that book, I would encourage you to find it. Still in print, I think. Certainly you can find it online. Raving Fans, Ken Blanchard. And in that, he talks about people who go beyond what they're expected to do because of their investment in the relationship, their concern for the person, the people. Yeah. He relays a story about a man who went to a department store looking for a book for his wife for her birthday of her favorite author. And the woman standing across the counter said, "Sir, I am sorry. We have completely sold out. We don't have any more of those in store here, but if you'll give me a minute, I can get it for you." Okay, so the man decides, I'll wait. This woman goes down to the bookstore in the mall, finds the book, buys it at retail price, brings it back to her customer, gift wraps the book. Gift wrap it? Yeah. She wraps the book in gift wrapping and sells it to the man at her store's price. Wow. That seems a bit odd, doesn't it? It certainly is out of character with what we're used to. Half the time we're trying to get somebody in the store just to pay attention, just to notice us. That's not you. That's not why you do what you do. You don't work this hard to bring me this kind of product, this kind of quality, to treat me that way. Of course you don't. What you can do is perfect this part of your business. Again, the business is about caring for your customers. Okay? So you're going to help me build that relationship with you over time. How are you going to do that? Well, for one thing, you don't see the sales process that you're engaged in as sort of temporary, right? Okay, so now I bring my carrots to my carrot stand, and here I am at the farmer's market, and now I'm selling my carrots to this person. Okay, now I'm selling. No, no, you're always selling. And when you sell like there's no tomorrow, that moment that you're in, that moment needs to be intense, it needs to be focused, immediate. You need to be alert to the interests and needs of the person that's buying from you. You need to be determined to make sure that I understand how much you care about the experience I'm having with you. You need to be relentless in your determination to care for me. Find out what else I might be interested in. Maybe you have things for sale more than just carrots. Sugar beets, collard greens, green beans. Right. Maybe what we really want to know is how much you bring to us that are an extension of this business. Think about um, think about Apple. Simon Sinek does a great job of bringing this to our attention. You know, Apple didn't go out there to sell computers or phones or anything else that Apple does. They came out to you to create an experience, what it means to have products that are fun, that are imaginative, that are engaging, that are useful. They came to us to make our lives better in very practical ways. And they said, "This is what we do. Would you like to buy one?" If you and I have brought that to the attention of our customer, our buyer, now we're really in the business of selling. Now we've engaged that person in this process. And right away, we want to put emphasis on the benefits that we bring, not the features. I don't care that your corn is juicier, and I don't care if it's bigger. I don't care if your carrots are, I don't know much about carrots. Maybe, maybe they're leafier. I don't want to know about the features of the product. I want to know what it's going to do for me. Sell me the benefit. These carrots are good for me. Keratin is a good thing for my eyes. That I know about carrots. I don't really care much about the price at that point either. And I want clear direction from you. If I buy these carrots, what's going to happen? I don't need a lot of diversion. Hey, look at this shiny thing over here. Just be honest, be straightforward, be direct, and give me that direction that I need in making this buying decision. In that way, you're sort of, well, you're sharing with me the excitement you have in having been able to do what you do. This is your life's work. Show me how excited you are that I'm standing in front of you and you have the opportunity to meet a need in my life. Like this woman in the department store that got the book for the man that was everything that she was there to do. He was her focal point. And if nothing else good happened that day, by golly, she was going to make sure that happened. Be that excited about what you're offering. And I can read that very clearly. You know, one of my favorite quotes comes from Robert Louis Stevenson. You can believe it, he said this, famous for saying this. He said, everyone lives by selling something. So, in other words, selling is just everyday life. It's what we do. When you want to invite your neighbor to be at a party that you're having at your house, or if you want to enlist that neighbor of yours to help you with a project, something you're doing there in your yard, you're selling an idea. You're selling an invitation. You're selling yourself over time in a relationship that is based on trust and friendship and commitment to the welfare of that person who is your neighbor, who is your customer, who is anyone that you happen to come across in your day to day activity. We're all selling something, selling who we are. So oftentimes we confine ourselves to the least interesting parts of what we do. Tragic. Don't do that. Not only be excited, but help me see how what you bring to me is going to advance my interest, advance my benefit, not replace something else I'm doing. So, I buy carrots from this guy over here, or I buy her collard greens over there. You're not interested in replacing what I do. That's great. Keep buying those carrots and those collard greens. Advance my interest in healthy, fresh produce by offering me what you bring. Maybe you've got green beans that are really, really good. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about you advancing my commitment to eating well, to eating healthy. For me, for my family, for my friends, that's you advancing my cause. And in that way, you're focused on connecting. It's always the connection. And if there's an issue, a conflict, it's never about the conflict. Well, I think I think those green beans might be not the best green beans. We're not here to argue. We're here to connect on those things that we can agree are important. To whom? To your customer. It's always about the customer. It's always about the buyer. Connecting, connecting, and that's why when you go to the grocery store and you've got a carton of cottage cheese in your hand You got it home, it was no good. You take it back. The smart grocer says, go get another one. Don't worry about it. No questions asked. The excellent grocer will say, by the way, now that we've replaced what you originally purchased from us, here's a $5 courtesy card, a gift card that you can use on your next purchase. Because it's not about the cottage cheese, is it? Ever. It's about the 100 million times I will be back. Or let's put it this way. It's about affirming with that person that you're more interested in their welfare than your own. What a novel concept. And in today's markets, it's a rare find, my friend. You and I both know that. When you find people that go out of their way to not only make good, but to advance our good, that's astounding. That is absolutely irreplaceable. But it's what happens when the relationship is more important than the transaction. So, how do you do that? Well, in the selling profession, and it's the profession that I've been in most of my adult life, I started selling professionally when I was 17 years old, and I just turned 68. So, what does that tell you? Always, always, always be selling. ABS. Always be selling. That means that no matter where you are, no matter who you're in front of, you have an opportunity with that individual or that group to talk about what you do and why you do it. Remembering that, of course, why you do what you do is the most important part. How do we know that what you're telling us is true? Well, one of the ways you do that is you communicate very simply and clearly. So communicate with clarity. Um, and when you do that, look for a way to, I like to call it tying a bow. Some people just say follow up with flair. The fact that you've given me your time and attention itself is a gift to me. I'm going to reward you by saying, hey, thanks for talking with me. Thanks for listening to me. Thank you for letting me show you my carrots. Here's a courtesy card. The next time we see each other, use this toward any purchase of any product that I have for sale. Or, or even more, maybe more meaningful. Hey, I know you don't want to buy carrots today, but look, I have these jars of marmalade that my wife made. They're really awesome. Please take this as my gift, just for listening, just for allowing me to tell you my story. Reward people in those moments. That's called following up with flair. Uh, don't be afraid to get excited and be enthusiastic, even entertaining while you're doing this. That doesn't mean you don't have to be Robin Williams. You just have to be willing to be genuine, right? See those moments that you have opportunity to tell a funny story. I'll tell you a story. It's not very funny. I worked for a guy who had a computer software company. I was the head of sales and marketing for the company. I set up a meeting with a prospect. It took me 2 months. We had to drive like 3 hours to get there. And in the middle of that meeting, the owner of the company I was working for insulted the prospect. They were talking about accounting procedures. This guy sold accounting software. And he questioned, why they did it the way they did. And he even said the words, why do you do that? That's stupid. Okay, yes, rule number one, do not insult the person that you're talking to by getting into some kind of criticism. If they're wearing a hat that you don't like, if they're wearing an insignia for the team that you hate, if they're not one of your posse, your gang, stop. You're not there to make them like you. You're there to serve their best interests. And that doesn't mean they're always right. It means they are always the customer. And if you don't want to sell carrots, then don't. But don't try to sell me poorly. If you're going to do this, deliver it, deliver your message with dedication. Remember what I said to you at the opening. Sales is no less noble than law or medicine or education or any other profession or trade. Plumbers, carpenters, yeah, engineers, people who are disciplined enough to apply certain techniques and methods and strategies and procedures over time that are proven. What I'm sharing with you tonight, I was trained in, and I've lived it. I've lived it for the last, what, 50 years or so? Hmm. It works. But it works because it's very simple. Just like growing carrots. It's hard work. It takes dedication. It takes a certain degree of enthusiasm and persistence. You have to be really clear-minded in why you're doing what you do. But if you're doing that and you're bringing it to me in ways that make sense for me and relate to where I'm at, you got nothing to worry about. Your prospects are going to better appreciate that you can be relied upon to be that way with them consistently over time. Every time they see you, they walk away feeling a little better. They walk away with something in their hand that they didn't expect to get. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something very trivial. But let me tell you something. Businesses do not grow through advertising. They grow through repeat and referral customers. Aha. Building relationships over time. And every customer then comes away with knowing that even though they bought a little something, they weren't your biggest customer of the day, they were just as important to you. Maybe you can convey that whenever you're in front of a group of people. That's basically your prospecting process. Prospecting simply means that you're always looking out for those who might have interest in what you're doing. Let's say that in the course of a month's time, you have had contact with 1,000 people in various ways. Maybe online, through your Facebook page or your website, maybe in person, maybe at a pop-up market somewhere or a farmer's market, and maybe at some club or association you belong to. So we'll just say, in a month's time, you've met 1,000 people. You talked with them about what they do, and you were able to tell them why you do what you do. So, we're out there chatting at this business meeting or whatever event. In any way whatsoever you have opportunity, and you ask them, well, what do you got? What do you do? What, how do you spend your time? How do you help other people? And when they ask the reciprocal question, well, what do? You say, I love helping people get healthy. Remember, your core question is, why do you do what you do? I love families having good food to eat. I'm devoting my business to the eradication of food deserts, food scarcity in my neighborhood, in my town. I want to help grow the local economy. I want other growers to do well. I want to pass along what I've learned to the people who work with me or who work for me. The people that I believe in because they believe in what I think is important in life, caring for one another. These are the 1,000 people that you got to talk to in this month. Any one of those that come back to you, let's say 5%, okay, you need to change your game. Your message isn't getting through clearly, and they're not connecting with you emotionally and intellectually. You probably spend too much time describing what you do instead of telling them why you do it. If you're getting anywhere from 15 to 20%, that's healthy. 25%, that's awesome. If you got 250 people to come back to you in a phone call, an email, a visit on your website, filled out a contact form, liked you on Facebook, commented on something you posted, those people are suspect. Those are people who have shown interest. Out of those 250, if you can bring half, let's say you bring 100 of those 250 people into your ranks as buyers, how did you do that? Well, you offered them an item that otherwise they wouldn't have available. They wouldn't find it in a local grocery store because this is a $5 gift card that they're going to use the next time they buy with you, just for looking at what you do. Those are the 100 people that you're going to gift, or you're going to reach out to and provide additional information. Maybe it's a book or a paper that they can download from your site to learn more about preparing the food that you grow. You know, recipe book, recipe ideas, or maybe you can get them connected with a larger group of growers. So now they're tied into a network that you already belong to. Find a way to reward them, not only for looking in your direction, but for showing more interest. So let's say we've taken that 250, now we've got 100 people, and now it's the opportunity to bring closure in the transaction, but in so doing, affirming the relationship. Thanks for buying my carrots today. We have provided these for you in a very special packaging that's going to preserve the freshness. Or, thank you for buying with us today at this farmer's market. And as a thank you, we want to give you this additional item. Now, maybe that is a gift card, or maybe it's some other product that you have, or maybe it's an invitation to be a part of some event that you have scheduled. Find a way to reward them at every juncture, at every way in which they can be a part of your business. That's how you grow. That's how you sell effectively. That's how you develop long-term relationships that are going to sustain you. Even when markets are not doing well, sales are down, you still have those core customers that believe in what you do. Remember the illustration I gave you earlier about Apple, and think about all the different ways in which Apple has been able to spin their product line. Simon Sinek was the one who brought us that observation. Remember, too, he reminds us that Martin Luther King was famous for giving a certain speech called I Have a Dream. Notice that he didn't say I have a plan. He didn't give us the 10 points of why we should do this. No, he didn't. What he did was he said, I have a dream. And he invited us to dream with him. What's your dream? What's your core? Use the sales process that we've outlined here for you to help better appreciate the value of that dream. Get us to participate in that dream with you. Be consistent, be determined, be direct, Share with us your vision of what it means to enjoy the product that you're bringing. That is the most effective sales strategy that you'll ever find. It's worked for me all of these many years, and I offer it to you tonight courtesy of Capstan Marketing. You can find us online at capstanmarketing.com, and you'll also find a free download there for you of this particular presentation tonight that we've entitled Knowing Your Sales Process. If you'll go to capstanmarketing.com and just look for the webinar link, you'll be able to download this presentation, and it'll remind you of some of the things we've talked about tonight. My friend, I'm glad that you were able to be a part of it. Be looking for more of this as we go forward in the weeks ahead. I'm Brian Cerny with Capstan Marketing on behalf of the Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association, wishing you a very successful business. Thanks for being with me.